Alright, so what you're looking at is a gimbal, 3-axis gimbal I designed. 3 separate parts using 3 9G plastic servos, micro servos. Basically, I could make these parts available for somebody to print if they have their own 3D printer, or I could make them available for somebody to have. I guess if you had your own 3D printer, it'd be free. If you didn't, I could send them to you cheap. But basically, we're gonna break down here this. I'll share my screen, and we'll go to Blender. We're gonna break down this gimbal I have here, which is 3-axis gimbal. You know, you have your roll, you have your yaw, and you have your pitch axis. If we get rid of the servos from view, you'll see the 3 individual parts here. And it's all essentially plug and play. 3 screws, nice and easy. They all just push together, push right in. And if we get rid of the parts, you'll see the servos here. So that's how it's gonna fit together. That's how it's gonna go together piecewise. So let's take a look at all that, right? Let's bring up the Bamboo Slicer software. That way I could show you the slicing software it would print from. So if you're going to download these files, it's just right there. Don't mess with them. They're already in the best format for printing. They do have some supports, but the supports are minimal and nice and easy to just break away. You can do it by hand. Nice and easy. So here's the full build plate, and then you have the individual parts, plus the test bench base piece. That's just to fit all the parts to an actual base to sort of test it all out. So let's go back to the webcam view, and we'll break down the parts here. We have a power source, we have a receiver, we have a VTX, of which is the DJI Vista. And so if you're using like a WASP camera, that's what I have it designed for. This camera mount is designed for the WASP camera. So if you have a DJI Vista and you're using the WASP camera or a polar camera or something along those lines, it should work. So here's the 3 parts right here, the test piece right there, your 3 micro servos. Starting with the servos, you'll see that some of them have ears and other ones don't. Right, I ripped off the ears just by coming here and wiggling it back and forth until I ripped off the ears. Basically, that just helps it to fit into the pieces a little bit easier. The one that goes with the test piece, or that's going to hold the actual gimbal, you're going to keep the ears for some screw-in support of the actual piece. So we're going to start by building, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the one with the ears, that servo, and we're going to plug it into channel 1 of our receiver, because the one with the ears is going to be our roll. Channel 1 is usually roll. I'm sure you can remap these anyways, but we're going to plug it in there. The reason we're going to plug it in is because we're also going to plug in our battery source, and we are going to find absolute 0 on that servo. So let's turn on our controller. We've got the battery source, and we have the servo for roll plugged in. So now we're going to turn it on. Should connect here, and when it connects there, we're going to take our first piece and screw it in when it's zeroed in. So wait for that. I must have plugged it in upside down, so I didn't do any damage, which I didn't. Alright, and zeroed, right? Let's check. Yep, we have confirmation it works, so it's zeroed. So now we're going to place our first piece, which is this piece, right? Can you see that? That's our first piece. We're going to place it to where it covers the longevity of the servo, right? So it should just place right on, nice and easy, just pushes right on there, and now we're going to screw it into place. Now it would be easier if you had a different screwdriver. This one's obviously a giant screwdriver, but the only caution I have for you is not to screw these in too deep, because you don't want to accidentally hit the gears underneath. And it's really just for support. It's not really for too much rigidity, mainly because you're holding a lightweight camera, and these actually have splines that connect with the gears of the servo. So it's designed pretty well. All you gotta do is just screw it in nice to a nice little fit, and we'll see if it works. And it works. If it's not working, you probably screwed it in too tight, or you don't have connection. So we're gonna turn this off. We're going to add one without the ears, right? Doesn't really matter which one you add, it just has to be one without the ears. So now we're gonna plug it in. And as you can see that there's like a little hole there, and this should just nice and easy fit right through, pop through, and you're just gonna pull it. And so this servo gear is gonna sit to the front side of it, as you see, just like that. It's pulled through, nice. So now we're gonna plug it into our receiver as well. That's our yaw axis, so that's going to channel 4. Channel 4 is this channel. There we go. Let's turn it on. And then once it's on and we have connection, yep, we have connection. We have our yaw, nice. Now we're going to add our second piece, of which, as you can see, there's a little screw hole at the top there I printed, or made in the print. That way you could easily screw this in. And so once it's zeroed, you're just going to screw it into place, which you can see we're doing nice and easy. And we have our yaw. My battery might be dying, sadly. Either that or I screwed it in too tight. So these are the few things that I want you to worry about. There we go, we have connection. So let's turn off our battery and we'll add the third axis, our pitch axis, or our x-axis plane. And just like the other one, it should just pop right through. This one's gonna sit to the front. Pops right in, nice and easy, see that? Now if I were you and I was gonna use this on a, an RC car or something, I would probably maybe at least glue this piece in. This one's definitely very sturdy. Reason being is because I left a little bit of ears on there, but just to be safe, I'd screw it all in. I'd glue it all together. So now we're gonna put this one on our channel 2 or pitch. We're gonna power it on. We're zeroed. And now we're going to screw it in. So once it's zeroed, right, you want to add it nice and level. Just like that, it pops right on, right? So now we're going to screw it into place. Screwing it in. Remember not to over screw them. You don't want to accidentally get the gears underneath, right? So now we have pitch, right? And we have yaw, and we have roll. So now we're going to power off, unplug everything, and move it to our test bench piece. Now the first thing that we're going to add to the test bench piece is the receiver. And so you'll see there's two sides, one for the servo to sit and one for the receiver to really sit. First thing is this. Now it's specifically designed for the Radiomaster ER8. If you're not using it, it might not sit as nicely, right? But it should still fit in there. It's the ER8 is pretty big, so just pushes in there. Now on the back end, we're gonna take our wires and slide it down in there, and I said slide them down in there, and they pop through on the other end, right? So that kind of locks our receiver in there a little bit, right? Nice. So now we're gonna take our gimbal, starting with the roll axis. We're gonna put it opposite of the receiver, right? And right up in here, there's a slot, which you can see better on this side. You have 1, 2, and 3. The roll is the top one, so we're gonna slide that in there. And it should be nice and easy, which it is. It pulls right through. You know, fit the other parts accordingly. So, boom, right in there, right? And now we'll go with the pitch, which we'll put in this upper side there. Just feeding it from this side. And it just pushes in and pulls through. And we're gonna leave a little bit of wire, right? So we're leaving a little bit of wire. Let that drag. Now let's come to the other side, which you have the top. See it better from this side. I'm gonna put it in on there, but on this reverse side. So this is gonna be our yaw axis. It's going in nice and easy, pushes through, pull it, and leaving a little extra, right? Boom. So there we have that. And now we have to connect it all. So we have channel 1 in our roll, which we are going to connect to our receiver. Channel 1. Then we have channel 2, which is our pitch. And then we have channel 4, which is our yaw. And now if I connect the battery, now I connect the battery and I turn it all on. Let's see, it's centered in. We got movement. We're able to move all around, look all around, do whatever we were trying to do. So it's a really simple build. It's a really easy concept. If you're looking for all the parts, I can get them to you one way or another. Whether that be you have a 3D printer, you can print them yourself, or you know, I could send them to you for a small fee. I'm really not trying to make a profit off this. I'm just trying to show that, you know, I can create stuff. And so moving forward in the future, I'm just going to be building and creating things, and this is just one stop along the way. I thought that, you know, creating a gimbal would be a good benchmark of set point to move forward from, to show, you know, I do design, I do think of things in depth, and moving forward, we're going to focus on drones, RC planes, programming flight controllers, building electric scooters, really whatever kind of fun, cool concept comes to my mind, I try to make it come to life. I try not to live bored. So if anyone wants to come along for the journey, that's what's in store. Thank you for watching, and like I said, if you want the download link for the 3D printed parts, you have a 3D printer, check the video description. There will be a link, and if you don't have a 3D printer and you need me to get you these parts somehow, we'll figure that out as well. I'll come up with some sort of idea, and it'll become available. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.